Shalom everyone, welcome back. We're up to Parsha's Vayishlach. Yaakov Avinu has married his wives. He's on his way back to Israel. And it's been 20 years and Esav still hates him. Esav still holds it against him that he took the blessings. So Yaakov sends messengers. He sends angels to see what Esav is up to. And he gets word that Esav's on his way back with 400 generals, with their armies. And he wants to annihilate Yaakov. So Yaakov prepares with three things. He prepares with gifts. He's going to send a whole row of cattle and camels and all kinds of gifts for Esav, including a vulture that Esav could use in his hunting and including diamonds that Esav could carry with him. And he prepares for war. They're all standing dressed in their finest clothing for the minute they meet Esav. They're going to try to be peaceful with him, but under their clothing, they're all wearing their armor, ready to go to war. And Yaakov prays. And in his prayer, Yaakov says, Ribbon Shalom, you promised me I'm going to make it back okay. You didn't promise me about my family and everyone else. So I beg you, you've been so good to me all over the years. I beg you that everyone should be okay. I'm scared. I might end up getting killed. I might end up killing. And that night, it's the night of Pesach, Yaakov has set up this whole long row of gifts of servants with their gifts towards Esav. And Yaakov decides he's going to run away. So Yaakov crosses the Yabok crossing, and Hashem doesn't want him to run away. Hashem wants him to stand up to Esav's angel. So as Yaakov is transferring his whole family in the darkness of the night, he realizes he has one more load. He left behind some small earthenware vessels. He goes back for them, and Esav's angel shows up, and there's a battle throughout the night between Yaakov and Esav's angel. And as the night is coming to a close, the angel can't win. So he delivers a low blow. He hits Yaakov in his lower thigh, and he still can't win. And he says to Yaakov, let me go. And Yaakov says, no. And he says, I have to make, it's my call in heaven. I'm supposed to bless Hashem. And Yaakov says, you started up. What do you want? I'm not letting you go till you bless me, till you agree that I have the rights to the blessings. Here you're coming to fight me over what? Over these blessings. Admit that I'm entitled to them. And according to Maimonides and others, this wasn't a physical battle. This was an internal spiritual battle, where Yaakov had to come to terms with the fact that he is the one who's supposed to have those blessings. So when they meet up with Esav, all the children go and bow before Esav. Yosef walks in front of his mother Rachel and makes sure that Esav can't see her. Because remember, there were twin sisters, so Esav figures if you, Yaakov, took the elder one, I'm supposed to get the younger one. So Rachel's in hiding, she's pretty nervous. And then Yaakov goes forward and bows to Esav. So every tribe bowed to Esav, aside from Binyamin, who was not yet born. And that's why Binyamin's descendants will repeatedly refuse to bow to pagans, and it's in Binyamin's section that the Beit HaMikdash, the Holy of Holies, will be. And Esav runs towards Yaakov, and he gives Yaakov a kiss. And our sages have a disagreement as to whether Esav was sincere, that was the one moment where Esav really loved Yaakov, or even during that kiss, Esav revealed his fangs, and he really meant to kill Yaakov by biting into his neck. And Yaakov's neck was so hard that Esav's teeth broke, but he was not successful in hurting Yaakov. So Esav offers Yaakov, we'll go together. And Yaakov says, we'll meet up later, Esav. Don't worry. And Yaakov means, at the end, he saw that prophetic vision, remember, where at the end they'll still meet up. So Esav goes his way, and Yaakov ensures that Esav doesn't hurt Yaakov's education. Yaakov comes to the city of Shechem, and they camp there. And the prince of the city is also called Shechem. And he's heard Yaakov has a beautiful daughter, but she doesn't come out. So he hires these girls to go dancing outside, and she speaks. She sees girls, it seems like a modest environment. She sees they're dancing. She goes out. She starts talking to the local girls, and he comes out of the bushes. He abducts her. He violates her. He takes her to his palace and continues violating her. Yaakov hears this. His sons hear this, and they're very upset. And Shechem does not give her back. He comes with his father, the king, and he says to Yaakov and the brothers, let's make a deal. We could be one big family. You guys can benefit so much from being part of us. And so Yaakov's two sons, Shimon and Levi, they answer slyly. They say, for us it's a shame to be connected to people who are uncircumcised like you. If you want to connect us, convince everyone in town to circumcise. We'll help you do it. And then we can connect. So Shechem rushes to convince everyone to circumcise. And on the third day, when they're all in intense pain, Shimon and Levi go out ostensibly to check up and give them medical advice. And every time they go into a room to check up on the patient, they execute him. And now they've wiped out all the males of the city of Shechem. And then they come and the family loots the city and they bring back Dinah. And Yaakov says, "What'd you do? What'd you do? You didn't tell me. And now we're all at risk." And he's right, because the neighboring nations gather to go to war. They all feel threatened. And Yaakov takes his own weapons and he stands up his own army to protect the family and ensure that they're safe. And Hashem tells Yaakov, come, you promised me when you left Israel that you would establish a place of worship, that you would give a tenth, you would give tzedakah, aser te'asrenu, you would give a tithe doubly in my honor and build a place of worship. Come fulfill your vows. You're having all these troubles because you haven't done it. And so Yaakov cleanses the family. They get rid of all the idols they have in their midst, and they go to worship Hashem. Yaakov's troubles aren't over. Yaakov loses his wife Rachel as they're traveling. She gives birth to Binyamin, and she passes away during childbirth. And when she passes away, remember Yaakov said, whoever took the stolen goods, whoever took the idol will die. It is Yaakov's curse that causes her untimely death. And Yaakov is left to bring up the orphans, so he takes her second, which was Bilhah, and he says, you will now raise the family because you were the one who was Rachel's right-hand woman. And Reuven says, that's not fair to my mother Leah. So he starts interfering about where Yaakov will place his beds. And for that interference, Reuven, who is the firstborn, loses his rights to being the firstborn, to being the family of kings, to being the priest. All those should have come from Reuven, and he loses that because he interferes in something that was not his business. In the end of the Parsha, we are reminded that even though Reuven fell, he is still a part of Israel. Until Yaakov Avinu, when someone fell, like Yishmael or Esav, they were out. They weren't a part of the chosen people. But from Yaakov onward, even when Reuven falls, he's a part of the Jewish people, because from that point onward, everyone is in, even if you fall. And the end of the Parsha reminds us about how Esav evolved. And Esav has that grandson Amalek. And we have a whole recounting of Esav, which is really just a recounting before we get back to our story and learn about how Yaakov's family evolved. I'll see you next time in Parshas Vayeshev, the great story of Yosef and his brothers. Shabbat Shalom.